So my name is Clive Roberts. I'm Head of School of Pharmacy here at the University of Nottingham. Thank you for joining us at this time. So I'm going to give a talk that's just going to introduce the school, the two main courses we have, which is Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences. And then we'll have a Q&A, as Izzy just said. Whilst you're asking questions, my colleague Lee Buttery, our admissions tutor, will be answering, as well as Katie, the student. So they'll answer some questions and we'll deal with the bigger questions in the verbal Q&A at the end. So like I say, if you have any questions, please ask them in the Q&A box. So in this brief talk, as I said, I'm just going to introduce myself. So as I said, I'm Clive Roberts. My colleague Lee Buttery is the admissions tutor, and we both teach in the Pharmacy and the Pharmaceutical Sciences course. As you can see, the school is an old school, 1925. We're founded in association with the Boots company, so Jesse Boots. And as you can see, we're a TEF Gold school and institution, which means we reach the very highest levels of teaching quality in the UK. And we're very proud of the fact that the students as well voted us last year, in the last academic year, the best school on campus. And really that's a combination of things at the school in terms of the way we as staff and students work together to deliver our teaching. So as I said, I'm going to talk about pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences, and I'll be very clear when I'm speaking about each one, but just thinking about the school overall for the moment. So we're a school that really put the student at the centre and really focus very hard on your education in terms of trying to get your skills not only at a very advanced scientific level, but also in terms of your leadership and your ability to use transferable skills. So we're very career focused in both courses. We are preparing you either to be professional clinical pharmacists or to be the very best pharmaceutical sciences working in drug discovery and medicines development. So very career driven curricula. Both courses are integrated, and what that actually means is that we bring together both applications in pharmacy or pharmaceutical sciences along with your learning. So you're never learning isolated facts away from the actual application. And we are really preparing you for leadership in whichever career you wish to go forward. So that ethos in the school has really driven us to be at the very top of pharmacy and pharmacology. You can see that we've ranked globally in the top 10 for the last 7 years. Just below Cambridge actually this year, and to be in that kind of company really shows a lot for our staff and our students. So pharmacy, this is B230 and B236. I'll explain these two courses. B230 is the 4-year course and B236 the 5-year course. So pharmacy, as I'm sure you're aware, is the course you have to do if you wish to be a professional pharmacist. So to become a pharmacist in the UK, you need an M.Pharm degree. Following the M.Pharm degree, you do 1-year pre-registration training in the standard 4-year course format. So you leave us as a graduate in the M.Pharm, and you do 1 year's further training called the pre-registration, and then you become a professional pharmacist. So this really, as a pharmacist, it requires you within the healthcare team to have a great knowledge of drugs and medicines and how they act in the body, but also to communicate with the patients, most importantly, and your healthcare team, doctors, nurses, etc. And within that team, you are the expert on medicines. Now, clearly, at this time, healthcare is particularly focused in the public eye, and you can see that the role of the pharmacist has been particularly important in responding to the COVID crisis. On the professional side, but as we also see on the pharmaceutical sciences side, for example, in development of new vaccines and medicines. This is what pharmaceutical sciences and pharmacy is all about. If you're interested in pharmacy, this is very much patient-centered. So we will teach you very much the leading science, but we'll always do that integrated with patient care. So it'll always be in the context of a patient-centered question. So a little bit more about the pharmacy course. As I've said, it's fully integrated with science and clinical. This is from day one, and you'll be doing placements throughout the course. So placements are when you go out into practice environments, either hospital or community or other places, and you learn from real professionals how to practice as a pharmacist, and you're doing that from semester 1, year 1. The 5-year course I'll talk a little bit more about later on, but this is where we take that pre-registration training that normally exists after the 4-year course and bring it inside the 5-year course. We use lots of different styles of teaching, which I'll bring up later on. The course is completely digitally enabled, and what we mean by that is it's paper free. Even before we hit the COVID case, all lectures were recorded. Everything is available digitally and online. The top box on the right explains that we're a top tier school, as you would expect, for ORIAL, which is the national exam for pre-registration. So this is the exam you do to obtain a hospital pre-registration placement and some community placements. And all our students get a pre-registration place. It's not guaranteed. It's a very competitive environment, but to date, all our students have got a pre-registration place and we have a very high pass rate. Another important thing about the school is the international opportunities we offer. So up to 25% of our students will take advantage of some international experience during the course. I'll talk more about those later on, but it's a really important part of the school. Another important part of the school is we are extremely diverse, diverse in ethnicity, culture, all aspects of diversity, and we're very proud of that. So we're really a school that embraces many different cultures, ethnicity, as I said, but also lots and lots of international students as well. So a real good mix, and we take real advantage of that in terms of giving a real global perspective to our courses. So a little bit now on pharmaceutical sciences. So what's the difference? Pharmacy is the professional degree if you want to be a practicing pharmacist in the UK. However, if you're more interested in the science aspects and the development and discovery of drugs and medicines, then pharmaceutical sciences is for you. So here we really concentrate on that scientific aspect. How do we, for example, design and produce vaccines for COVID? How was that done so quickly? What was the science that led Oxford and Imperial College, actually, both of whom we collaborate with, to quickly come up with those vaccines? So that's just one aspect, but obviously a very important and topical one. Equally important is how you manufacture medicines. So having designed those medicines, how you manufacture them, how do you manufacture them safely for patients? How do you manufacture to the right quality? What is the regulatory environment? Of course, pharmaceuticals are an extremely regulated business. So understanding all aspects of discovery right through to the patient in terms of the manufacturing rather than the pharmacy side. So quite distinct courses, and as you reflect on what you're interested in, there's a very clear difference between pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. The Pharmaceutical Sciences course was launched in 2017. It's, I would suggest, the leading course in the country. It has the highest entrance grades. We take the best students. It has an integrated year in industry at the end. So if you wish to, you could either do a BSc and finish at 3 years, or you can carry on and do an MSci with the year in industry. And I'll talk more about that later on. As you can see, the School of Pharmacy at Nottingham is one of the world's leading pharmacy schools, so you will be taught by some of the best experts in the world in terms of how to develop and discover medicines. And in terms of job opportunities, which is one of the reasons we created this course, you can see that R&D spend in the UK, this is the biggest sector, and it's also one of the biggest manufacturing sectors. So in terms of the UK economy, as well as the global economy, this is a sector that continues to grow and there's huge opportunities. Because we designed this course in partnership with industry, specifically with Pfizer, GSK and AstraZeneca, then this course has been designed to meet the needs for industry. So how will we teach you? And it varies between the courses, but we use these methods across both courses. So yes, we will use traditional lectures, although of course for the coming year, many of those will be online. But we use lots of different techniques. So we use reverse lectures or flipped lectures. This is where they're online and you have face-to-face workshops. Obviously lots of laboratory classes. You'll be doing lab a week in both courses. In pharmacy, professional placements, extensive e-learning support. As I said, we have our own e-learning support within the school. But very importantly, lots of support for the students as well. So everybody will have a personal tutor. That personal tutor will stay with you throughout your time with us. Each course has a course lead, but also year heads. And there are multiple ways that the student body interacts with the staff. So what you might think of as a staff student committee, we call the Learning Community Forum, and we have student representation on all our major committees. I, as head of school, along with our leadership team, will meet every year group every semester, and we discuss how the course is going. So that's a very direct opportunity for students to feed back to me as head of school and the senior team and really tell us what they think. And we use that as a method for continuously improving our courses. So this really kind of summarizes the two courses that I've sort of been talking about. Pharmacy, so this is where you're interested in science, but also healthcare. You're interested in medicines. you're interested in professional aspects and being patient-centered and working in that healthcare team. Of course, it's a great degree. You can do many other things. A lot of people end up in industry, for example, but it is very much focused on becoming a pharmacist in the UK. For Pharmaceutical Sciences, as I said, it's very much science-focused. It's about making you the best fit possible in terms of what pharmaceutical industry or indeed research at university is looking for at the very top end. So now a little bit more detail about the MPharm, which is the pharmacy course, and then I'll do some detail on the Pharmaceutical Sciences course. So as I've said, they're patient-centered, professionally focused, with integrated teaching from the very start. Placements both in community hospital and GP and other what we call interprofessional learning and placements. The heart of the degree is what we call these drug medicine patient modules. So within these modules, you will learn not only about the science of the drug, whether that be a small chemical molecule or indeed a biological molecule, how we turn that into a medicine, a process we call formulation, and why that always has to have the patient at the center of that design. So the very first module you'll encounter, the DMPs, is in the second semester of year 1, and that's dyspepsia, which is problems of the GI tract. So in those problems, we will cover all aspects of what it is to be a pharmacist, both from the fundamental sciences, the medicine or the pharmaceutics, if you like, and the patient. So you'll really understand in an integrated way. And then we move on to bacterial fungal infections, etc., as we go through the course. So you can see the structure of the 4-year course here. First semester, very importantly, is about transition into higher education, and we have 2 large modules that transfer you from your current knowledge state, which will be different for all of you, into ready for the DMP modules, which is the green boxes here. And after the DMPs, you can see in the second part of year 3, you'll do a semester-long research project. In the pharmacy course, this can be done, in fact in both courses, this can be done abroad, particularly in Malaysia, where we have our sister school, but also in many other institutions around the world. And in the 4th year, we bring all of these things together in very advanced clinical and scientific studies, where you're doing lots of very interesting teamwork, real-life simulations of pharmacies, for example, and some very advanced science, the very best that we can teach you here at Nottingham. The 5-year course, which I mentioned a couple of times, as you can see from the blocks, essentially very similar, apart from the 2 orange blocks. And this is where you do what is the pre-reg placement, which is traditionally done after graduation in the 4-year course, but is now fully integrated into the 5-year course in 2 6-month blocks. So whilst there are some subtle differences between the course in terms of how we prepare you for those pre-reg placements, it is essentially, as you can see, those 2 blocks in years 4 and 5. The difference here is when you graduate from this course, you graduate as a professional pharmacist ready to practice, and you do not need a further year of training. So the 4-year course is what the majority of students do in the UK, around about 3,000 graduates a year in the UK, and the vast majority of those will do the 4-year. But here, this is the only university that offers 5 years for both home and international students, and it has certain advantages. I think the main one is the guaranteed quality of the pre-registration training and the fact that it's fully integrated into the course. It does have some significant financial disadvantages though, because obviously it's more expensive with 5 years worth of fees, and also you do not get the payment that you normally get at the pre-registration year. So I'm afraid it is more expensive, but we have that option on offer. And in fact, you can switch between these 2 courses, so do not get too confused if you're applying to us. As long as you apply to one or the other, that's fine. In terms of facilities, it's a real shame, of course, we can't welcome you to the campus today, but as you might expect, we have real class-leading facilities, both in our teaching and our research areas, lots of simulated pharmacies, the use of lots of simulated patients and real patients, of course, digital facilities, lots of space for you to, in the pharmacy school, but also across the university, in lots of other good facilities. Careers, I'm sure you're well aware if you've researched pharmacy, these are the main careers that you're probably aware of in community pharmacy, GP practices where there's a lot of employment currently, hospital or in industry. But of course there are many other places you could end up with a good quality pharmacy degree. So just very briefly run through the pharmacy course there. Pharmaceutical Sciences, to remind you, this is the one focused on science and the development of medicines with a strong emphasis on industry. This course has a more traditional structure in the sense that we will give you a very strong fundamental grounding in the key sciences that make up pharmaceutical sciences: chemistry, the biosciences, which is becoming increasingly important, and pharmaceutics, the science of making medicines. In year 3, you will specialise in those sectors, and year 4, if you wish to carry on to do the MSci, you do a year in industry. And all the students this year that wanted that option got their placements in industry. Obviously, it's a particularly challenging year, but we're very pleased to see that happen. Do note that to move into the MSci, there is a requirement that year 2 average be 55%, and that's just to make sure that you're ready for the challenges of that year in industry. So as I've said, these are the 3 kind of pillars of the fundamental sciences in pharmaceutical sciences. So you really got to love your chemistry, but you will also do a lot of biology. If you look at the vaccines being developed now, for example, to go back to that example, you're either seeing antibody or RNA-based vaccines. So biological sciences is really important nowadays in the development of modern medicines. How does the year in industry work? So we will support you this, but this is essentially you'll be interviewed by the industrial providers, and then you'll do a year placement in partnership with us. So this is an assessed year. Whilst you're being looked after in industry, you will still have constant contact with the university, and there'll be an online module that you'll be doing alongside your placement to allow accreditation, and that's why this is an MSci, so a Master of Sciences. Similar to the pharmacy course, of course, we have good facilities. There'll be lots of laboratory classes, strong emphasis on practical skills. These are the skills that pharmaceutical industry want. They want you, of course, to have leadership skills, good translational skills, good management skills, good communication skills. But fundamentally, you need to be a good scientist and you need to have good practical skills. And you need to understand how to develop medicines. And we will focus very hard on that. So again, careers. Clearly, this would prepare you very well, as the pharmacy course does, if you wish to do a PhD or postgraduate training afterwards. But it's very specifically designed for industry. And I think there's huge opportunities for students to graduate from this course. That doesn't necessarily mean in the fundamental sciences. It can be, as it's listed here, regulation and quality assurance, or indeed in patents, and particularly if you did a additional legal qualification, there's lots of opportunities in patent law. Or indeed in sales and marketing and many other aspects of pharmaceutical industry. So just to finish, I realise this is a fairly brief trot through the 2 courses, but obviously it's important just to talk about the admissions process, which is different for the 2 courses. The grades are the same, so AAB is our offer. Obviously there are equivalents for the International Baccalaureate and others. Lee, our admissions tutor, can help you with questions on that if you're worried about that. And there are some requirements for GCSE, so you just need to check that you've got the English and Math grades which are required for the pharmacy or the pharmaceutical sciences course. If you're coming to the pharmaceutical sciences course and your application meets our offer and you have a good personal statement, which it says here is emphasize your keen interest in science, you do not have to have had personal experience in the pharmaceutical industry or placement. And the same goes for pharmacy. We do not expect or mandate that you do, but obviously if you have some experience, of course, that is useful in helping making your decision. With the MSci or the BSc in PharmSci, based on your application, if that meets our offer, you'll receive an offer from us. The MPharm is slightly different because we interview all candidates that potentially meet our offer. I'll just explain why we do that. So for the MPharm, of course, we want you to be a very high quality scientist. You need to understand how medicines work, but also you do need to be an exceptionally good communicator, not just with other pharmacists, but patients, many other different people, different health professionals. So your communication skills, your empathy, the way you deal with people is really important. So we will interview you in what's called a multi-mini interview format, which actually mirrors quite a lot of the way we do assessment in the pharmacy course. Nothing to be scared of, and if you come for an interview either physically to us or via Skype, which is more likely in the coming period, then we'll explain exactly how it works. But basically, we are looking for the characteristics that we believe will make you a success at Nottingham, or indeed a success in being a pharmacist. So it's that balance between the scientific knowledge and the professional communication and patient empathy that we're looking for. So I appreciate that was a very quick go through what we have on offer.